Hey, Awesomes, how we doing? Good to see you. Or good for you to see me, I guess. I'll put myself down here in the right-hand side of the screen. I want to talk to you briefly about the rhetorical analysis assignment. I know that we've had a week or so to kind of talk about rhetoric, or you've been learning about rhetoric. I've been communicating to you about rhetoric via our Moodle page. So now I wanted to take a moment to kind of make sure that you understood or had a pretty clear idea kind of what we're doing for the rhetorical analysis. So I think I'm sure you've already read through this. I'm just going to hit some of the highlights or things that I want you to kind of know as you proceed. All right. So as you're learning the concepts, right? So last week we talked about what kind of rhetoric is and how we're kind of thinking about rhetoric and its involvement with or marriage to recently or throughout the years with persuasion. This week we're talking about, we're also going to be talking about ethos, pathos, and logos, or credibility, emotion, and reason, or logic. You will take these concepts as we continue to move forward, and you will locate in one of these publications online, Time Magazine, Rolling Stone, Vibe, Crisis Magazine, as it says here, thinkprogress.org, or you can find one of your own choosing. Any article will do. It can come from a mainstream scene. If you've got something else that you want to do, just looking more for a published article that has trying to find something with a stance on it as opposed to maybe a blog, but, unless it's a position-oriented blog like thinkprogress.org or similar, right? Then we're going to, once you have that article, all right, that's kind of, I don't want to say that's phase one, but I would probably encourage you to be thinking about that, get that article put together, or find the article that you're going to do. Then we'll perform these steps on them, right? You obviously need to have an understanding of what the article is about for the summary, description, and purpose, but the main analysis part is right in here, okay? We haven't talked about types of claims and arguments yet. We're going to do that, I believe it's week 5. The rhetorical situation also in week 4 and week 5. We'll find out what that is, and then you'll have a paragraph dedicated to that. And of course, obviously, where we are right now and talking about ethos, pathos, and logos, then you identify those choices that the author makes. In your case, right, the writer, they made these choices to employ, right, these rhetorical appeals, ethos for credibility, pathos to invoke an emotion in the audience, logos to appeal to the audience's sense of reason, right? A lot of this is oftentimes, as you'll learn, done with facts and figures, charts, right, percentages, these types of things that seem to make sense or appeal to that logical side of us. And then your overall claim conclusion, and this kind of ties back to our introduction right here, all right? And I want to highlight right here your evaluative claim about the article being studied. So overall, right, as you're reading through your article, as you're learning the concepts of rhetoric, you're going to make an overall claim as to how effective this writer was, right? Were they effective in their call to action? So if it's a position-oriented type blog piece, let's say that you decide to do, and someone's trying to convince you to see the world differently, whatever it is, right, and their position, how successful and effective do you think that they were using ethos, pathos, and logos? And that's really what a rhetorical analysis is about. So you don't have to agree. You don't have to say they did well. You can say they did not so well, right? You can say they were ineffective, right? And in their claims for ethos, they didn't have the ethos. They didn't establish credibility with their audience for these particular reasons. You could say that they were unsuccessful in drawing an emotion or invoking any emotion in their audience, right? Whatever that particular emotion may be, whether it's fear, joy, hatred, love, whatever, right? We got to name the emotion. We'll talk about that more throughout our time. And if they did appeal to reason, was that maybe it wasn't effective. Maybe the percentages that they used, maybe what they brought in that was supposed to appeal to reason wasn't strong. Maybe the studies that they brought in or whatever they did to try to appeal to reason, it itself didn't have the ethos. So what they tried to bring in for logos didn't work because it had no credibility behind it, therefore diminishing their own credibility. And then, of course, the opposite of that could be, right, you felt it was very, very effective. They established ethos. They established pathos. They let's say that they appealed to fear and they did it very, very well because of these reasons. Here are the choices that they made. Here's how they presented that information in their article to successfully, effectively evoke an emotion, right? To persuade someone to change perhaps their mind or see things differently, take a different position perhaps than the one that their currently held beliefs perhaps are getting them to feel about that particular situation, whatever it is. So that's the crux, right? That's it. Of course, I delineate all these things here, how to put it together. But I think the most important part right now is find your article, right? And as we're going through these concepts every single week, either print out your article or you can have it. It doesn't matter. Whatever works best for you, and start to find, so this week, start to find ethos and formulate, let what you find, let it start to influence and help you and inform perhaps whether or not what kind of stance you're going to take. Okay. Are you going to take in a stance that was effective or that it wasn't, right? That's really kind of where we are with these. Okay. All right. So I think that's about it for me. I'm going to close. I try to keep these videos between 5 and 6, 7 minutes ish. I'm a little long right now. So if you have any other questions, just let me know. But start with find your article. As we're going through the concepts over the next several weeks, start to put those things to highlight. Okay, here's ethos, here's pathos, here's logos, effective or ineffective. Why? What were the choices that the writer made, right? Why did they choose to do this? How did they choose? What was the thing that they brought in that was supposed to build ethos? Right? What was the thing things that they brought in to evoke an emotion? What were the things that they used to appeal to the audience's sense of reason? What are those things specifically, and how well and how effective did they work? All right, guys, that's Project One Rhetorical Analysis, kind of in a nutshell. We'll talk